But let's move on to some more NFL QBs, and let's move on to the New Orleans Saints. Their QB debacle, as I'm calling it, with who do you start? Do you go with the veteran and Jameis Winston, or do you go with the, Swiss Army knife of Taysom Hill?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you've watched Taysom Hill over the last couple of games where he's been the starter, and even if you watched him the other night in the preseason, he's one of those guys where, he's effective during the regular season because they put him in and you say, is he going to run? Is he going to pass? What kind of play are they going to run? And he can kind of deceive defenses and kind of sneak up on defenses with certain plays. When you're the starting quarterback, you're running a 2-minute drill, or you're in a position where you have to throw the ball and the defense knows you have to throw the ball. That's a completely different story. And Taysom isn't good enough as a quarterback to be that guy. So to me, I'm putting Jameis Winston in there. You still have Taysom Hill to come in as a gadget. He can do a lot of different things for you. But Jameis Winston, I think, has got to be the guy. He just looks more comfortable back there. Taysom Hill just always looks like he's running for his life when he's in there as a starter or in there over an extended period of time. And you just can't do that every play where you're kind of just running around trying to just kind of play, backyard football, which is fun to watch. And you can do that a few plays here and there. But there are times you just got to stand in the pocket and deliver the ball. And Hill just doesn't seem to be able to do that. Jameis Winston, like we've mentioned before, he's more of a traditional quarterback. He's going to drop back. He's going to deliver the ball. He loves to chuck it downfield. His problem has always been, he kind of holds the ball onto the ball for too long because he likes to go down the field with it. Takes time for the receivers to get down there. Sometimes he gets strip sacked. A lot of times he's been strip sacked in his career. He throws picks. So that's something he's got to clean up. But I think it's got to be Winston. I just think if you want to be a productive offense going forward, you've got to have Jameis Winston as your starting quarterback. Otherwise, even if you keep Taysum in there and then you try to bring in another quarterback to develop, it's going to be a completely different scenario with the two different guys. So I would go with Jameis Winston.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you say that because that is definitely the right call in my opinion, honestly. And it's funny, you got the Saints there sitting there being like, man, we got Drew Brees, man. We got one of the top 5 quarterbacks of all time. We're sitting pretty. And then Drew Brees is like, sorry, I'm out of here. And then they're like, all right, what do we got left? Well, not much, honestly. So it's like, what are they going to do? They've got to make a decision now. The Drew Brees era in New Orleans is over. So it's time to move on. You have to pick one of these two guys. And in my opinion, the choice is clear. I've been very vocal on this show and in life, to be honest, that Taysom Hill is a trash NFL quarterback. He is a gimmick NFL quarterback. And even when I started this topic, I called him a Swiss Army knife because you really don't know what position this guy plays. He's not clear, okay? And let's compare him to another, because people want to say, hey, he's just a football player. Let's compare him to a real football player, Julian Edelman, who was also a quarterback at Kent State in college. And he came out in the draft and people said, man, we don't know what position this guy's going to play, but hey, he's just a football player. Well, guess what? That is a real football player. He could have also throw the ball down the field like we've seen him do in the playoff game to Danny Amendola, right? He can throw touchdowns. He can run the ball. He can catch the ball. He can play wide receiver with the best of them. Julian Edelman is the man. That is the real football player when you talk about him. And Taysom Hill is just a gimmick of Julian Edelman, in my opinion, where they wanted to try to have a Julian Edelman and didn't even come close. Taysom Hill is not an NFL quarterback. And I've been saying this for a long time now. People are finally starting to see it because he's got to be under center in a starting position. He got to start a preseason game and he looked like junk, to be honest. Threw that interception, and that interception throw was basically telegraphed to the defender. One of the most simple throws that any NFL quarterback should either know, hey, we got to check this down or we got to get rid of this and throw it away. Instead, he tries forcing it, and it's an easy interception for the defender. I mean, granted, later on, Jameis Winston came in. He also threw an interception. But it was one of those ones where, like you said, Jameis is a gunslinger. He's going to try to take some shots down the field where that might get intercepted, where this Taysom Hill interception was just a lack of game knowledge, game experience, and not knowing what to do as a quarterback because he's not a quarterback. So I clearly think you got to go with Jameis Winston. Not only is he the real NFL quarterback, he's NFL ready. This guy's thrown for over 5,000 yards in a season. Granted, he led the league in interceptions, but he even said he had a hurt shoulder that year. He's now fixed that shoulder with surgery. He also got LASIK eye surgery so he could be able to see better downfield and read defenses better. So I'm telling you, man, if I'm betting any money, it's going to be on Jameis Winston, also a quarterback that won a national championship at Florida State when he was in college. This guy knows how to lead a football team, and that's another thing that I think not a lot of people are talking about is the locker room support and the locker room presence. If you put Taysom Hill in there as your starting QB, you're going to lose games. You're going to lose games fast, going to put you out of the playoff picture quick, and you're going to lose the locker room support. I can guarantee you if you were to pull any of the players in there, even if it's a blind pull, they're not going to pick Taysom Hill as their starting quarterback. They're going to want Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston is the NFL proven and ready quarterback. I think it's a no-brainer that the New Orleans Saints have to go that way.
Yeah, if you're the Saints too, you might want to just ask what Michael Thomas wants. He does not seem happy right now, so
yeah,
maybe just say, who do you want as the quarterback so we can make you happy? So at least we have one superstar who is feeling good about being on the Saints right now. Yep. The other thing is too, if you don't start Hill, you can still bring him in the game. You can still play him. If Jameis isn't the starter, you're not using him. So and keep Jameis in there. Jameis was a former #1 pick. Maybe he can kind of be a reclamation project, revitalize his career in a new place. So we'll see what happens there with Jameis. But I agree. I think Jameis is the guy. Folks, if you like this show, you're watching it right now on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page. That's Comeback Sports on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, Comeback Sports. And then all the cut-ups that our awesome producer, Ben Kudo, puts together after the show, that'll all filter to your YouTube channel. You don't have to go search for it. It's just right there in your subscriptions.